What's happening? It is a thrilling Thursday. Today we break down the Memphis Grizzlies' electrifying win over the Spurs, featuring the best dunk that never was. Plus, Ole Miss Hoop stuns a Final Four contender, and we preview the Memphis Tigers renewing their rivalry with AAC foe Temple, spotlighting the towering presence of one Musa Cisse. It's January 16th, and the 24th floor starts right now. Ooh, baby. Is it Friday yet?
Almost.
It feels like, this kind of has a Friday-ish
It's a
feel
day.
to it.
It's a day.
It's a day?
Yeah.
No Friday feels for you?
I don't know. I'm all over the shop at the moment. We have to get in here at like 7:30 in the morning.
It's because you don't sleep, bro.
Yeah, it's very opposite my sleep schedule. So I'm running off fumes right now. So I don't know what day it is. We're just here.
Rachel's actually a vampire. Like, she does not sleep at night, and she'll pop in here at 7 in the morning.
They were saying they eat dinner at 5:30 at night. What lunatic eats dinner at
Normal
5:30?
5:30 is a perfectly
Not
normal
normal.
time to eat dinner. I don't understand.
My family would be like 8:30 every night, and then now that's really extended for me. I
Right.
had dinner, my last meal last night at 12:30.
They're like,
so
all right, kangaroo's ready, 8:30.
No one eats
Caleb, what time do you
kangaroo.
normally eat dinner, man?
It depends on the day, but like if Hannah, my girlfriend, is cooking, it's usually like 6:30 or so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 6:30.
I feel like it's pretty normal. Like, I feel like
You're doing
I'll eat
fine.
lunch before I come into work when we don't have to be here in the morning, right? So that's like a 2 o'clock shift. I'll eat lunch at noon, and then when we get into that like 5 to 7 o'clock range, like I'm eating dinner. Like, I gotta put some fuel in the tank.
Yeah, it's rare. I had it at 8:30 the other night, and that was actually really early.
Gosh, you're scary.
I'm actually intermittent fasting right now.
Oh, yeah.
Are you okay?
Trying to get rid of dad bod?
Yeah, no, everyone who intermittent fasts has to tell you that they're intermittently fasting.
Can you
so,
say that word 3 times fast?
No, don't do that to me. I started it.
Let's jump into our big idea for the day. You know who's not intermittently fasting? Did I say that word correctly?
Nailed
The
it.
Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies facing the Spurs for the first of back-to-back games, which means we get a double dose of Zach Edey and Wembanyama. Too little right there. Let's go into the second quarter. Grizz in transition. The lob going from Ja Morant to one Santi Aldama. 10 points, 8 assists for Ja Morant in the first half, but the Grizzlies were down double digits at the half. Let's get downhill. How about downhill Dez with a layup? 9-0 run in the third quarter to bring the Grizzlies within 2. They take the lead in the fourth. Not the best game for Jaren Jackson Jr., but he made big plays in the fourth quarter. Got Wemby dancing, and then he gets the 3 ball coming right after that. And the dunk heard around the world. Morant detonates on Wemby after the whistle. It didn't count, but that depends really on who you ask. Grizz win it 129 to 115. So let's go ahead and jump into this one. Caleb, I'll toss it to you first. You like this game? You enjoy this game?
Yeah, it was a fun game. I thought it really at the beginning, Wemby gets 2 back-to-back blocks. He gets and then Bane gets out for a 3. I forget who he blocked. I think he blocked Edey and someone else, but I was like, oh no, is this going to be a Wemby game?
Mm-hmm.
So he gets 2 of his 8 blocks early on, and then the Grizzlies are able to manage to get it out to Bane. He hits a 3, cuts the lead to 28 to 30.
Stay in the corner, yeah.
And that's kind of what the theme was throughout the game. San Antonio had some chances to kind of extend the lead out to even like 15. They had chances, they didn't in the first half. They end up going into the half with a little bit of a lead. But then in the second half, the Grizzlies put up 78 points compared to San Antonio's 52. So really it was closer than the score makes it seem. San Antonio are a really good team. Stephon Castle, great rookie out there, making really good plays in this game. Wembanyama was kept at bay offensively. And still, at the end of the day, Wemby did a good job defensively overall, picking up 8 blocks, but the Grizzlies still picked up 62 points in the paint. There's a reason why they have the most points in the paint per game in the NBA.
Yeah, they got 2 of the most dominant scorers in the paint per game, and Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., who we've seen be a monster. To your point, 8 blocks for Wemby in the game, but all 8 of them were in the first half.
Yeah.
It's almost like, they're like, okay, we got to stop going right at this guy or whatever they were doing. And we kind of reading around with Jaren Jackson Jr., and he's talking about, like, he goes back to watch the film. He's like, okay, I got some stuff that I can't do. I'm doing a little too repetitively. And you got a guy like Wemby who watches tape and is athletic as he is. You can't do those same things. He comes out in the fourth quarter. He dominates. Rachel, what did you like about this game?
Yeah, it was a good win overall and a needed win. They'd lost 4 out of their last 6 heading into that one. Santi Aldama, after the game, called it an identity-building win and a character-building win, and one that they needed. Like you said, going down 12 points at the half, to be able to come out, not only turn it around and win, but to go on that kind of roll and really separate themselves against them. More than 25 points. I can't do maths. 26 points. The difference in that to go on in that second half and get the turnaround. So a big difference for them. And I mean, Santi had another great game. Des had a great game. Good to see Ja consistent performances, because there was those first couple of games back from injury. A lot of people kind of were out there being like, he doesn't look like the same Ja right now. But I think the last couple of games he's been able to string some wins together and some points together and really look dominant there in every phase of the ball. So great to see him back and playing well. And then Jaren, a rough first half, but to kind of swing things around as well. And like you said, kind of look at things and change things and make sure he's developing into the way that they need him to in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, it definitely felt like Ja got his win back just a little bit in this one. Santi Aldama, again, another breath of fresh air. I feel like every time we talk about Santi and he's not in the lineup, the Grizzlies suffer. And when he's coming off the bench in that 6-man role, and Caleb is, he was going to tout the flag about Santi being 6 man.
He's all the way up to third.
He's
back in the top
been phenomenal off the bench. Him in that Luke Kennard lineup, especially when they've got a Ja in the game who can speed things up for them. I think they play so well. You got 3 guys with 20 points in this game: Ja, Dez, and Santi. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. had 19, with 14 of those points coming in the fourth quarter. He was amazing. And I think what we kind of seen from Ja and Jaren these past couple of games is normally we feel like it's Jaren who is kind of carrying them throughout the game and Ja closes. This time it felt like Dez and Ja carried them throughout the game, and they said, okay, Jaren, come and take us home. And it was a phenomenal win. Biggest thing for me, though, 8 turnovers in this game. We talk day in and day out with this team about how they turn the ball over the most in the league, or so close to top of the league. 8 turnovers in this game. It's the first time all season they've had single-digit turnover game. And obviously you see the result. They get a 129-115 win over the Wemby Spurs. And to your point, Wemby didn't dominate offensively, played really well defensively. Stephon Castle,
yeah, he's nice.
He was impressive. 26 points. He was impressive. I keep talking about how Jalen Wells is going to be our rookie of the year, and then you get a game like that from Stephon Castle. You're like, okay, I can see why people think you're good, I guess.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that's something we've talked about as well. Jalen Wells is, top 5 in Rookie of the Year expected odds, and we think it might be that low or that high because he's not on TV as much. Same thing with Stephon Castle. But to everything that you were saying, I thought that this game was a really good test for the Grizzlies offense overall. You really saw the ball moving the way that the Grizzlies want to. And now something that has been the Grizzlies' struggle, I think last year we can kind of X out all of those stats last year, but even the year before that, when they eventually fell to LA in the playoffs, their half-court offense has always been in the bottom 5 of the league. Now they're up to 14th. Their half-court efficiency is all the way up to 14th. And a big reason for that is Ja Morant. And with Ja Morant in that lineup, they're able to play this new offense the way they want to. And what that looks like is a lot less dribble handoffs, a lot less pick and rolls. And when you look at someone like Ja early in his career, even to 2 years ago, he was constantly looking for the picks. That was the offense. And now he's all the way down to 45th in the league in picks that he takes per game. If you look at someone like Damian Lillard takes close to 20 a game. That's something that in this modern version of offense, we're looking for a lot. A lot of those players like Damian Lillard are looking to get off the pick and shoot a 3. That's not really Ja. And so I think they've been able to cater this offense towards Ja, and that's why you see all of these points in the paint coming. And the Grizzlies offense is running very efficiently because of that. And we're at the point where a lot of teams have a sample size to see this Grizzlies offense and to game plan against it. But not very many teams have been able to do it. The teams that should be good at doing that are teams with play someone with the size like Victor Wembanyama, and that can clog up the paint. But because they run this positionless offense, which is some people call it a wheel offense, a positionless high motion offense, it really gives a team like San Antonio troubles, and they're not a bad defensive team at all. And so I think that this was a really good. What does Santi say?
A character building.
Character building, yeah. They kind of set the tone in this game, something that they can carry into tomorrow night when they play San Antonio again and keep this train rolling.
Yeah, talk about setting the tone. You get Zach Edey with 6 of his 8 points, and then I always kind of wonder why they don't give him the ball again. We were talking a lot about the game itself. We got to talk about the moment of the game. It was Ja's dunk over Wemby. Give me the jaw dropper. Let's talk about this one. So one more look at this dunk. Stephon Castle fouls, the whistle blows. That does not stop Ja at all. He absolutely hammers it on Wemby's head. The dunk heard around the world that did not count. After the game, Ja actually gave his 2 cents on this viral moment.
The whistle was on my gavel, so that I kept going with the play because normally I don't hear no whistle when I drive to the rack or anything. So.
All right, but when you saw him and you saw the opportunity,
Another person at the rim. So you dunked on plenty of people, bro. He don't get no pass either. If you at the rim, I'm gonna try you if it's that situation.
It's just another guy at the rim. And yeah, y'all can leave this video while we talk underneath this, but another guy at the rim is a ludicrous statement to make. Ja has dunked on 7-footers before, okay? So that's not a new thing. But Wemby is as elite a shot blocker as there is in the league, and for you to step up on him, yam it on his head when he's clearly trying to defend the dunk, I think is just another one of those moments where Ja broke the internet, and to our Stingers transitions point, dropped jaws all across the country. I think it was an incredible dunk. Does it count? I think it counts. Not because it obviously doesn't count in the terms of the box score, but when you get a guy like Wemby who's clearly trying to defend the dunk, it counts. And they had it on SportsCenter last night. SportsCenter's like, well, it doesn't count because the whistle blew and this, that, and the third. Don't be a nerd, okay? Don't be a nerd. This was an incredible dunk. It should count. It counts in my heart.
You were rolling your eyes.
Yeah.
I saw you rolling your eyes.
I felt it in my soul.
Incredible dunk, but it doesn't count. It's an incredible dunk, but it doesn't. I'm going to be a nerd, if you want to call that. I don't really call people that these days anymore, but whatever. I thought we were trying to be PC over here.
PC's it's a PC term.
I honestly,
cool,
hearing what he said after the game, that it's just another guy, I truly think he believes that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's saying that as just to try and get someone on Twitter or wherever to be like, oh, Ja said this. I think that's honestly what he believes. He walks onto any court and says, I'm the best guy on this court. Watch what I can do. And we see it time and time again. And yes, I don't think it technically counts. It doesn't. Let's be honest. It doesn't technically count.
In box score.
But it's another play that we see from him where he just does this all the time, where you're just like, how did he do that? And I mean, you talk about Wemby being one of the best shot blockers in the game at the moment. I mean, he had 8 in this game alone, and then he can't stop that. So
that wasn't one of them.
Did you see how far he brought the ball back? He brought it back his full extension and then dunked. I mean, obviously it doesn't count, but in Wemby's eyes, that dunk's going to count for the rest of his life. He's going to be seeing that every time.
He's going to see it when they play him again tomorrow.
Yeah, every third night when he falls asleep, he's going to see Ja and whatever he said to him after that dunk, because that there was something. I wanted to say this. I haven't seen anybody say this, but Jaren is 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year odds. Wemby's 1st. Maybe this was a little, who's the Defensive Player of the Year? You are getting dunked on someone, half your size, essentially.
I don't know.
A little shot.
Because we done seen Jaren take some shots this year. Not to that extent, because that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
but we've definitely seen Jaren get punched on a couple of times. But as a shot blocker, and I'm not saying this because I am one at 5'8", 5'9" tall. But what I've heard from shot blockers is they say you have to challenge everybody. And when you challenge everybody, when you're a regular guy who is meeting people at the apex, sometimes you're going to get yammed on. That's just the nature of the game. You want to be a defensive player, that's just what's going to happen.
And look, if there's someone to get yammed on by, it's Ja. I mean,
there's no shame.
He's one of the best people at being able to find the bucket. It's insane.
Yeah, 100%. I really enjoyed watching that. I think that was one of those moments where it felt like Ja was Ja. And I think a lot of times this year we felt like Ja Morant hasn't quite looked like himself or felt like himself, or if you're looking at him, it looks like he's thinking about something in his head. And this is one of those moments where he saw Wemby underneath that basket. His eyes got big, and he said, oh, it's go time. It's time to go. And we got another viral Ja moment. Another one, actually, that will go into the, like, dunks that never were, almost were. He's got a lot where they, like, clang off the back of the backboard or the rim, and you're like, dang, like, I wish that was that viral moment, but we didn't get it this week.
Yeah, he does have a lot of those. But this one is definitely, if you look at the compilations of shots that didn't count but should have, baskets that didn't count but should have, this might be number one all time. Like, it's ridiculous. There's been a lot of crazy shots that didn't count. LeBron's had 5 of them in the top 10 for the last decade, but this one might top all of them. So it's probably going to be on YouTube in those compilations tomorrow.
And the last thing I kind of say about it, when you listen to that soundbite from Ja, he's throwing a little shot at the NBA there. He's like, I kept going because I didn't hear the whistle. I'm not used to hearing the whistle when I go to the rim anymore, so I don't get any foul calls. Thus, somebody had to pay. And this time it was Wemby. You know who else has been paying his dues?
It's Gigi Jackson.
It is Gigi Jackson.
Yeah, he is making his way back in the fold after sitting out the beginning of the season with a foot injury. The second-year forward played his first game with the Memphis Hustle in the G League last night. Not a bad showing, 18 points and 5 rebounds, but even Gigi himself admits he's got a little ways to go before he's back in the swing of things.
Definitely still out of shape, but comes with not playing for a little minute, I guess, but no excuses. But I'm gonna try to do everything in my power, control what I can control to, get myself back to game-ready shape. Though it's amazing how a basketball can bring so many people around, and it was laughs and chit chatter back out there on the court. So it just felt good to take it all back in and definitely get up and down the floor. But like I said earlier, just hella room for improvement on my end.
Gigi was a little hard on himself for this one. I was actually in the Landers Center last night, got a chance to watch some of this game, and you could tell he really wanted to come in there and dominate, and he almost had to kind of like slow his own roll, and I think the coach out there for the Hustle as well kind of had to slow his roll just a little bit. Glad to see him back on the floor. I think it's been a long road. We haven't talked to him really since the summertime. But for him to get back on the floor, I think really bodes well for the Grizzlies. They really need that kind of 1 or 2 extra rotation pieces. They're playing really deep with some guys who you probably won't see as much in a playoff series per se. But for him to get back on the floor, it was fun to watch. It was fun to watch because he's electric, and for him to be it was a really competitive game. They lost in overtime, unfortunately, but he's jaw-jacking. I mean, you can see him talking about it a little bit in that soundbite, but he's jaw-jacking up and down the floor. I think the competitive juices were something that he had really missed over the last however many months he's been out. It was really cool to kind of be in the Landers Center, watch him do his thing one more time.
I'm not surprised that he had to kind of take himself back a bit, because from what I heard from him, that's his first ever injury that he's really ever had, and first time he's ever had to sit out like an extended period of games. That's hard to deal with for anyone, let alone someone who's just started his rookie year and gone out and shown everyone exactly who he is and put a lot of people on notice, to then have that high apex and then just the come down of like, oh man, I don't get to go out there and do that this week, or next week, or the week after, or next month. It's a long time to be sitting out for someone like that. And so I understand why he was just so eager to get out there and have fun with it. And now it's okay. Got to just settle back in and figure it out and push through all the growing pains of coming back from an injury and making sure you don't re-injure it and being able to get back on the floor with the Grizzlies. Because, I mean, that's the whole plan, right? Get him back, bring more depth into the Grizzlies, put him into that fast offense rotation and see what he can do with it.
Yeah, I think it's a big maturing phase for him to go through this. Y'all pretty much have said that. There's not much else I need to say on it, but it's something that he'll look back on in his career. Hopefully 5 years from now, where he's all NBA level player, right? He's shown the potential and said that this was really tough, and this moment where I was coming back playing against guys who I think I'm better than in the G League, and not being able to drop 35 easily. I saw a lot of spot up threes where he hustle back, all right, just give it to me, I'm pulling it. I'm testing to see how this three looks. But yeah, I mean, the Grizzlies run the most miles per game in the NBA. And so Gigi's going to have to run a lot, and he needs to be in shape, and that'll come. These guys have been in shape since they were 12 years old, and it's just going to take him getting back on his feet. It'll be interesting because we've never seen him, this Gigi, play with Ja, Jaren, and Dez.
He's never played a minute with Ja.
Yeah, so
which is crazy.
It'll be it'll be really interesting to see. Ja, has talked about Gigi in the past, really respects his game. Make no mistake, Gigi fits right into this Grizzlies offense. He's the perfect player. What that looks like, does Santi get less minutes? I don't know. I think it's more of Jake LaRavia will get less minutes, and we'll see what that rotation looks like. But definitely excited to see him back on the court.
I would love to see a Ja, Santi, Ja, Santi, Gigi lineup. I want to see what those three look like alongside whoever else they decide to put out there. To your point about the conditioning, he looked gassed. He looked like somebody who hadn't played basketball in however many months, 6 months or so. We were talking to the coaching staff. They're like, yeah, he looked like somebody who hadn't played basketball in 6 months or so. And it's kind of interesting for them because obviously their job is to win games. They're like any other basketball team, but they are also in a developmental spot. So you got to get Gigi his touches while at the same time like trying to win in the context of winning the bigger basketball game. I thought it was kind of interesting. We got to see how soon he gets back. I think he might play maybe one more G League game on Friday. What did y'all think about him going to the G League, though? I think when you look at some of that, we'll call it what it is, a little social media chatter, social media buzz. People are like, why is Gigi playing G League games? Why don't we just throw him back in the rotation? I was like, do y'all understand?
You have to.
Kind of where he's been at the last 6 months. I mean, especially with the offense that they run so much that he has to be in better like conditional shape.
He's
That's my 2 cents.
also not a veteran yet. Like you can't. I just don't like.
That's fair.
I mean, he wasn't even meant to get as many minutes as what he got last year. That all happened because of all the injuries. Like realistically, everyone expected him to be playing the majority of his game last season with the hustle. It's no knock on having to do that. That's part of building back up to where you need to be. I mean, obviously, Ja's coming back. We're not really seeing that, right? He's fine to go straight back into the NBA, but Gigi's not a veteran yet. He's got to get to that point, and I think it makes perfect sense. I didn't think one thing.
I didn't think twice.
Yeah,
about
I
it.
didn't
They were
think
like,
one
he's gonna
thing
get some
about
G League
it.
run.
Yeah. I expect it to be normal.
Yeah, I mean, you see it in a lot of sports. I'm sure NFL teams wish that they had something like a minor league, like baseball has, where they can go send their star down there. You see it as y'all know, I'm a big soccer fan, right? And so a lot of times, as I am,
I never would have thought you were a soccer fan. Actually.
Well, I had to say this before I go into. I guess I didn't need to preface it. I didn't need to preface it.
You also play D2 lacrosse?
Don't go into this. That is a prime example of her starting something. That is a prime example. Keep this clip. She starts it. I usually don't start it.
You just set it up for me, though. How
even
am
though
I
I
not
did
meant to
get
take
you
it?
with a slight Australian joke. A lot of times in European soccer, they'll send big stars who are recovering to the under 21 teams to go and just wreck those kids, and while they're getting back healthy, and it's a great experience for them too. And I can't think of a time where that hasn't worked out. So yeah, this is great for Gigi.
So Gigi will spend a little longer.
Keep talking.
Let's be respectful. First of all, let's back it up just a little bit. There's no disrespect to Caleb playing D2 lacrosse. He's the only person who's played college anything on this stage right now. So
I'm fully.
I will always be very respectful.
There will be emails sent after this show.
HR.
If the viewers can't get the sense of humor, then what are you doing watching? We're having fun up here. Gigi Jackson will stay with the hustle for a little bit longer. Grizz back in action against San Antonio again on Friday. But time to talk some Ole Miss men's basketball, guys. Yeah, maybe it's time to start talking a little bit about Ole Miss. That's what Chris Beard had to say after his number 21 ranked Rebs took down number 4 Alabama on Tuesday night, 74-64 for their first road win over a top 5 ranked AP team in program history. The Crimson Tide up 14-10. But Sean Padula lobs it up to Malik Dia for the alley-oop slam, and he was just getting going. Rebs down 4 at the half, but then Dia took over, posting a double-double with 23 points and a career-high 19 rebounds. Dia on an absolute tear these last 3 games helps lead the Rebels to a 4-0 start in the SEC for the first time since 2012-2013.
Proud of our players for a lot of reasons. Top of the list, I do believe Alabama is one of the best teams in the country. It's our second year at Ole Miss. We came here to build a program that can compete with teams like this. And tonight, we obviously did more than compete. And I think most of the national scene didn't give Ole Miss much of a chance. And our players believed that we could be successful in this game, and that's what we did.
Yeah, a massive, massive win right there for Ole Miss in that game. Going into it, we said, okay, Ole Miss obviously Alabama is very effective in regards to points per game and the pace. They're number 1 in the country in both of those elements. But there was a chance for Ole Miss to get into this game, and that was purely on turnovers and steals. They're ranked in top 10 in the country in both of those, and that's really where this game went. Ole Miss had actually 25 more possessions just off their steals and turnovers than what Alabama had. They shot less from the field than Alabama in regards to percentage and shots going in, but because they had all those extra possessions, it didn't matter in the end. And it just goes to show that defense that Chris Beard has brought in and has been known for every program that he's gone to is clearly coming to fruition here at the Rebels in his second season at the helm. I thought it was a really impressive game for them. Went toe-to-toe also in rebounds, which is something we saw them really struggle with against Memphis. That was kind of one of their weakest areas. And since then, since SEC play has started, they've either been one off or tied or one above every single team they've played these 4 games into SEC play. They have come in with a much more physical and dominant performance. And part of me is like, did Memphis kind of wake them up? And I remember you asking Chris Beard that post-game against Memphis, is this a wake-up call? And he kind of played it off and was like, no, I mean, this is basketball. But to me, it looks like it was the wake-up call.
He did say that in the next game when they played Georgia, because I asked him that afterwards, and he was talking about that. Yeah, Memphis was definitely a wake-up call. It was a wake-up call for him and Malik Dia, who didn't play terribly against Memphis, but got bodied a few times. He's had 21-19 and then 23 the other night versus Alabama. That's his scoreline for the last 3 games. He's been a beast. Did he start long sleeves and then went short sleeves? Look, he's long sleeves there.
It's probably getting a little too sweaty.
He's long sleeves there, and then he goes, you'll see a few plays later, but he went short sleeves. How did that work?
He did leave the game at one point. Everyone was like, oh no, he's injured. And then everyone thinks he might have just gone for a toilet break. So maybe during the toilet break, he took off.
See, now he's short sleeves.
Cut the sleeves off.
I've never seen that before.
They look sweaty.
Yeah.
It
does. Yeah,
maybe that's how Alabama does it. Like, okay, we're going to have it really hot in here. Only we're trained for it, and everyone else is going to struggle.
Alabama.
23 points and 19 rebounds for Malik Dia. He's been an absolute monster, too. Rachel's point about the 21 turnovers for Alabama. Ole Miss forced 7 of those in the first 5 minutes, and that's really what allowed them to, I think, give you the confidence, to be like, okay, we can hang with these guys for sure, and B, you feel like you're legitimately in the game when you can do that. You can force a team like that to turn the ball over so much. It also puts you in transition. It's where they scored a lot of their points in this game. It's where I think they can continue to thrive. Is getting out in transition, allowing guys like Sean Padula, Juju Murray to do what they do and get to the basket that way. To that point, 21 turnovers for Bama, which is a season high, only 7 for Ole Miss. So you're also controlling the rock yourself. They're not a team that necessarily turns the ball over a lot anyway, but when you can, anytime in any game that you can hold it to single digits in a game, you're going to give yourself a lot more possessions, a lot more opportunities to score to win the game. 28 points in the second half was a season low for Alabama. You hold Mark Sears, who we think is going to be potentially a national player of the year for this Alabama squad. You hold him to 11 points when he averages 19 a game. You force other people to score. And Alabama just didn't have an answer for it in this particular game. I thought it was an incredible win for Chris Beard. And they're going to have to – that was their first road win over a top 5 team in the program's entire history. They were 0-34 before that. So, yeah, that is a program-defining win for Coach Beard, who is literally figuring out, or not even figuring out, but this team is figuring out Coach Beard's style and really adapting it. And I think this is exactly what they brought, Coach Beard in to do.
Yeah.
It's a historic win, but you talk to Coach after the game, and he's like, yes, it's a great win. I'm happy. Obviously, we want this win. We want it on our, roster of this is what we've done this season. But he's like, we didn't come in here to get a big win in January. We came in here to go get 6 wins in March and go deep into that tournament and put everyone on display right there. So, yes, it's cool that they did this, and I'm sure they all celebrated it how it should have been celebrated and acknowledged what an impressive win it was and what it's done for the program moving forward. But it's by no means what they want to achieve, and now they turn their attention to Mississippi State, which is another really big matchup. Those 2 teams, get this, have played 270 games over 101 years. This is their first ever matchup against each other where they're both ranked opponents.
Wow.
It's crazy. I did not do the maths on that stat, by the way, but it was just a really cool stat I had to put out there.
She's got it somewhere.
Yeah. Well, what Mississippi State like to do, they're a very physical team. This Mississippi State team is arguably one of the best teams that they played this season. Alabama is a similar team to them, except for Mississippi State like to slow it down a little bit more. They like to get going on the transition, but in half-court offense, we saw it against Memphis. They like to slow the game down a little bit. And it's something that Ole Miss did to Alabama, which is one of the reasons why Sears couldn't get the points that he wanted, is because they were not allowing him to get any space, and they weren't allowing him to get the ball. And so that's why you saw the shot clock get down to 6 or 4 a lot in that Alabama game. I don't know how much that is going to transition into this Mississippi State game because of the way that they like to play. One thing that I'm worried about is now Malik Diaz proved the haters wrong. Ole Miss do not play with a center. Malik Diaz is kind of that positionless player that they like to play with Jamin Brakefield kind of filling in the space that maybe a power forward normally would do. And I just am worried about the physicality of Mississippi State. We saw Mississippi State bully Memphis. Memphis bullied Ole Miss. Now, this is a different-looking Ole Miss team, yes. But at the same time, if you get under the gun at Mississippi State early and you're just getting out-rebounded, and Mississippi State a top 40 team in the nation in rebounds per game with 36 rebounds per game. Ole Miss, not far below there, but 31 rebounds per game. But we've seen it, and I know that it's just a common thing. If you lose a basketball game, you can often look at the team that lost. They got out-rebounded. But at the same time, you can still pull games out if you can figure out other ways to win. And so I don't see Ole Miss winning the rebounding game, but what they can do is just manage the game. Two great coaches going up against each other. It's going to be a great battle. Ole Miss have room to lose this game, but you want to keep this train rolling. You want to continue to be undefeated, continue to move up that top 25, and I don't know. I think it'll be close.
It's such an emotional hangover and balance to how do you handle this massive win and then go into a rivalry game, which is more than just another SEC game in the schedule. Let's be honest. This means a lot more to both those teams. Obviously, they want to keep things rolling and get another win in SEC play, but it means something to be playing their rival. You mentioned the rebounds, and I agree with you. I think that's an area where Ole Miss have to be concerned. But watching these last 4 games in the SEC, I'm not as concerned anymore. And I know that Mississippi State is a different build and a different type of team, but the way that they've been able to go toe-to-toe with every other SEC team they've played so far in regards to that rebounding category, I'm not as nervous because Alabama averaged 10 more rebounds a game than Ole Miss, and they beat them by 1 rebound total. And I think Ole Miss limited them to, I think it was 4 offensive rebounds all game. So they're right there. I don't know what has switched in their brain to be able to turn those rebounds on, but they've been doing it. Whether they can do it against Mississippi State and continue that is a whole other story. I think the other interesting thing to me is Mississippi State, they average 82.8 points per game. Ole Miss have not let a team go over 66. It's just their defense is so
Alabama,
good.
A little close to it.
Yeah, it was close to Alabama. Their defense is just so good. And so it's impressive to see if that can just continue on and what team's going to be able to disrupt that.
I think you junk up the game. I really think the Alabama game is a preview of what this Mississippi State game could be if Ole Miss is going to win the game. You have to be able to junk up. You have to be able to really frustrate Josh Hubbard, who we've seen be a phenomenal scorer, puts up 17 points a game. But the assist to turnover ratio for Mississippi State, 17th in the country. This is going to be a game where if you can get them to turn the ball over, you can get out in transition, you can allow a guy like Sean Padula and Juju Murray, like we saw in that Alabama game, to score in ways that it doesn't necessarily require the half-court offense. I think you give yourself an opportunity to win. I mean, to your point, Rachel, I see what the Ole Miss Rebels have been able to do in terms of rebounding the ball, but you really got to put a body on guys because Mississippi State has 2 guys who average 7 rebounds a game.
Keyshawn Murphy and then Cameron Matthews.
Right, so you got to know where those guys are.
Yeah.
You got to put a body on them, and you can't get in foul trouble. I think we've seen Malik Diaz be the best player on the floor, but if he's dealing with any kind of foul trouble, okay, now I gotta lean more on Padula. I gotta lean more on Matthew Morrell. But to Ole Miss's point, they had 5 guys who scored in double digits in this game. I think if you can have another performance like that, you give yourself a good chance to win, especially on the road in your rival's house.
Matthew Morrell, just put up 24 points. Get this game over with. I know that that's what he's been looking for, and Chris Beard just kind of detoured towards Malik Diaz, but this is the perfect game for him.
Got to right behind the hand.
Listen, Malik Diaz, I didn't know this, but he weighs 250 pounds. I would not have said that, which is what I imagine Keyshawn weighs as well for Mississippi State.
Slim looking. It's all that intermittent fasting he's doing.
Yeah, all that intermittent fasting. nothing. And so he's a tough guy. Malik D is a tough guy, but this game is primed for Matthew Morrell to have a great game. He just needs to shoot better beyond the arc. And he's only put up more than 10 points in the last 3 games once, and that was against Alabama with 11 points. I've been saying this all the time. I sound like a broken record, but Matthew Morrell just needs to have a big game, and he needs to do it against a team like Mississippi State, because if Hubbard isn't getting his buckets, they have other guys to go to, and Cameron Matthews and Keyshawn as well. And if they get Keyshawn going, it's going to be really tough for Ole Miss to stop. We saw it with Memphis. I keep going back to that Memphis game.
It's hard not to.
Yeah, and like I said, if you fall under the gun against this team, the way you get out is someone like Matthew Morrell.
All right. Top 25 matchup between 2 rival schools. That game is going to be in Starkville, 5 o'clock on Saturday. Rach, take us home.
Yeah, a lot more still to come, including my sit-down with Memphis men's basketball center, Musa Cisse, about his journey that in 8 years has seen him live in 2 countries, play for 3 schools, and deal with the loss of his mother. All of it shaping him into the player and person he is today as he looks to lead Memphis to the NCAA tournament. Stay with us.
The weather affects us every day, but some days are more impactful than others. In Memphis, we get it all. From heat waves, severe storms, snow, and ice. As a meteorologist, it's my job to keep you safe on those impactful days. Don't get caught off guard and know what to expect with ABC 24 Weather Impact Days.
The 24 Plus app. Watch us live and continue with us on 24 Plus. And get extended coverage of weather and breaking news. The 24 Plus app. ABC 24 is making your voice heard.
This city is filthy, it's crime infested, and somebody need to do something about it.
Listening to your concerns.
We could have such a great city if we really just put the time and energy into it and come up with solutions.
And getting results for you.
We appreciate 24 for coming out.
Getting the issues taken care of.
When you put it on ABC 24, somebody gonna listen.
ABC 24, seeking solutions for you.
I just love working on this morning show.
We really are like one big family. Myself, Yvonne, Ruben.
You're probably gonna like what you see and what you hear, and you're gonna leave being informed and having a little bit of fun at the same time.
ABC 24 News this morning.
The news never stops, so we're taking you beyond the broadcast with ABC 24 Plus.
Continuing coverage of the issues that matter to you.
We need to get something done.
More interviews and stories that dig deeper. The Lord has a plan, is all I know.
We'll take you beyond the scores and highlights for local sports coverage you can't find anywhere else.
Plus, on-demand forecasts to keep you weather aware.
ABC 24 News right now on ABC 24 Plus.
Welcome back. The 18th ranked Tigers are going to be out in Philadelphia tonight to take on the, what rank are Temple? Oh, they're unranked. The 10-6 Temple Owls as part of their 2-game road trip. They'll finish up the road trip on Sunday against Charlotte. Here's a fun fact for you. Temple have 0 wins in Quad 2. They're 0-3 in Quad 2, and they're 4-3 in Quad 3. That's just AAC things, Avery.
Thank you. Yeah, they're not necessarily a good team, but they do have some very good players. I think what we've seen from the Tigers this year is, I like to describe it as playing with their food. A couple of really close wins, especially that East Carolina win where we thought they might let a big lead slip away. If you have your foot on Temple's neck in this one, you have to finish the deal, and you have to make a 5 to 10 point lead, make it a 15, 20 point win. That's what I would really like to see from the Tigers in this one. You have one of the best scorers in the country with PJ Haggerty in conversations to be an All-American at 22 points a game this season. But Jamal Mashburn, the son of the former NBA player himself, 20.7 points per game. He's 3rd in the AAC. To me, if you slow down Jamal Mashburn in this game, you probably win this game. He shoots literally 33% of their shots. So if you just get the ball out of his hands, make things difficult for him, you probably win this game and win it going away.
I'll be honest, this one scares me for the Tigers. It really does going into it.
You said that every game.
Yeah, because honestly, I don't trust them. I'll be honest with that. I don't.
That's
but
fair.
this game in particular, the Owls are 6-0 at home. This is a, what do you guys call it? A whiteout.
A whiteout.
A whiteout. It's a really weird term to me. It's a whiteout game. So
Is a whiteout a foreign term?
I don't know what.
Y'all don't do color
No.
at rugby matches?
No. There's also no college sports. It's just a very different atmosphere.
Is it technically a whiteout when there's going to be 1,500 people there? Because that's what their arena holds?
Either way, at home, their average victory, 12.5. He's had 5 shots there.
That's 2 shots.
12.5.
At the Licorice Center?
They've won. That's the name of the center.
It's
a phenomenal name.
LIA and COURAS Center, Licorice.
There we go. Fun fact for today. Another fun fact, just because we're on fun facts.
Words are hard.
Penny Hardaway and Jamal Mashburn's dad drafted in the same year in the NBA draft. Both ended up on the all-rookie team that year. It's a fun fact I read. It's on the fun fact stories. But back to Temple, all right? Yes, 6-0 at home. Their average margin of victory at home this year, over 12 points. Mashburn is so good, like you said, ranked 3rd in the AAC in points scored. He's their guy. He's the somewhat equivalent of PJ Haggerty. I don't know, it just feels like a recipe of disaster. They score 78.9 points, which is 5.3 more per game than Memphis gives a game, if that makes sense. So they have the ability to score, and Memphis hasn't been able to defend that. That's a hard thing for them to defend. But Caleb's over here rolling his eyes.
Because they've done it against teams in quad 3 and quad 4.
For sure.
That's why they're averaging 80
But also
points
look
per
at them
game.
against North Texas. Look at them against East Carolina. They get to these games where they're 1-point victories or they're down to the wire, tied it with a minute to go. Memphis isn't going all out in these games.
North Texas is a reputable team. They're having a good season.
I'm not saying they're not.
East Carolina.
I think also Temple is a reputable team. It's the last quad 2 game officially for sure for Memphis. It's not necessarily an easy win, and I think you over here being like, oh, this is, an easy win.
I never said it was easy.
Well, you're going very hard on me in regards to saying it's a tough test for Memphis in regards to, it's not a tough test, but I think it's an area they could slip up in. I think the thing that I need to see from them for them to win this game is once again limiting the turnovers. We see it every game. Even the reason why East Carolina were able to get back into that game in the second half was they got their first 6 points in the second half coming off turnovers from Memphis. Yeah. They just are handing the ball to other teams. If they're able to clean up the turnovers, I feel good about this game 100%. That's my point.
Memphis has had 15 or more turnovers in 6 of their last 8 games. They averaged 14 and a half a game, which is literally in the last, they're 325th out of 360 schools. So yes, you do have to protect the ball. On another note, I think if you're talking about the defensive end of the floor, we've seen the Tigers at times get into foul trouble. Musa Cisse, Dane Danger, we know that front court rotation is pretty short. The Temple Owls are one of the best teams in the country at getting to the free throw line. 19 free throws made per game, that's I think 7th in the country. 26 attempts per game, that's 8th in the country. So this is a game where you cannot allow yourselves to get into, Musa Cisse 3 fouls in the first half kind of game. You can't let Dane Danger get in 3 fouls in the first half kind of game. These guys have to be on the floor because as good as Jamal Mashburn is, he makes everybody else better. They do like to get in the paint. Jamal Mashburn likes to get downhill to the bucket that way. So you're looking at a game where if you let them elongate the game or junk up the game, allow them to stay in the game from the free throw line, we could be talking about another game where the Memphis Tigers are squeaking out a 5-pointer. A 5-point win. I don't think that's what Penny Hardaway wants at all. This should be a game where this team is good enough. You got to start blowing some of these teams out. You've had enough early on tests, right, in the AAC to know more or less what you're getting with these teams.
And that's what scares me is,
Go ahead.
Keep
talking.
I will, thank you. Is that they haven't been able to blow out any of these teams. And so
They blew out FAU.
You say that the first game, okay, we'll look at the last 3.
FAU are a higher ranked team than Temple.
But
or were at the
But then
time.
they go in and play a lesser ranked team and they can't blow them out. So what does that say to you? What does it say to you?
What does it say to you, Caleb?
Yeah, if you want to keep doing this, let's go.
As they say in the Australian outback, you cut the head off the snake, the body dies. And that's what they did versus ECU with R.J. Felton. And that's what they need to do.
That was good analogy.
That's what they need to do against Mini Monster Mash, a.k.a. Jamal Mashburn Jr.
And hey, I want nothing more than to see them do that. I do. I think we all do, right? We want to see the Tigers winning. We want to see the city doing well. But we haven't seen it in the last couple games.
I'm saying that if they apply the same game plan, turn the ball over less than they did against ECU, then they can go in and win. I don't think
I would like to say I made that same point 2 2 minutes ago. But cool.
Have you been holding on to Mini Monster Mash? Like, you were just like, I gotta get that in there somewhere.
Well, I was like, what was Jamal Mashburn's nickname? And then I had to look it up, and it was Monster Mash. I was like, oh, that's what it was, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
I had a Jamal Mashburn jersey when I was a kid. That makes me feel old. I wasn't even that old. I mean, that young
makes me
either.
feel old.
Yeah, it does in a way. I don't think, I mean, Memphis have gone into Clemson and Virginia and gotten wins on the road.
Yep.
Also, FAU, they're not worried about going in on the road. This whiteout, it's going to pick up that atmosphere a little bit more than maybe what some other teams are going to do. I say that, and the next team that they're playing is you can get a free pizza and cup of coffee at the Quad if you pay $10. Charlotte is begging people to go to their games. It's actually pathetic. They can't get there. Yeah, they're so bad. It's not even we have a Charlotte fan sitting over there who's our local
He's
weatherman.
choosing not to look at us at all.
Corey,
Even he said that Memphis were going to win by how much did you say, Corey?
I was going to say like
27 points. Yeah. So
if Memphis wins by 25 points, I will buy a round for everybody at this table right now. I'll say it right now.
All right.
I love that. Drinks on the boss.
Drinks on the boss. I'll take care of it. You know who's been a boss in the paint this season? Musa Cisse. And Rachel, you got a chance to hang out with him.
Yeah, I did. I got to sit down one-on-one with Musa and talk all things about his journey from moving from Africa to here, the years that he's played, choosing to start his career in Memphis, and then going to a few different schools and coming back here. Check it out.
I was like, man, I'm down the street, so I might as well come back home.
It's been 3 years with stops at Oklahoma State and Ole Miss since Musa Cisse donned the Tiger stripes. But every time the 6'11" center dunks this season, the crowd roars. And it feels like the gentle giant never left his American home. 8 years ago, a 14-year-old Cisse, who spoke no English and had only played basketball for 1 year, left his home country of Guinea to chase a pro ball career in the US.
I was just rocking with it. I was a kid. I just want to have fun and, be there. It was fun to me. The gym was nice and eating pizza and stuff, so I was like, okay, I'm liking it.
After a few years in New York, Cisse moved to Memphis, where he'd star at Lausanne. He led the Lynx to a state title, was named Tennessee's Mr. Basketball, and became a top 10 prospect in his class. The dynamite dunker and shot blocker spent his freshman year with the Tigers, where he averaged nearly 2 steals and more than 6 points and rebounds a game, en route to being named the 2020-21 AAC Freshman of the Year and winning the NIT tournament. At the end of the season, Cisse chose to put his name in the NBA draft, before eventually transferring to Oklahoma State.
Everything was good. I still don't know why I left.
As a Cowboy, Cisse didn't just show his strength on the court, but also off of it. In December of 2021, Cisse's mum passed away, more than 2 years after he'd last seen her, and before she got to watch him play basketball in the US.
Not spending as much time with her, like, it was like one of my biggest regrets, but now that I had to accomplish what I came here for her.
Read Cisse's ex-bio, and it's clear. Every rebound, bucket, and block is for his mum and the sacrifice they both made for his dream. What do you think she would say if she could see you now?
I would think she would be proud of me for, and because everything that I want to do, I think about her first, like if she would like that. So I think that she would be proud of me.
Is there something that she said to you over your life that kind of sticks with you or you remember?
Yeah, she always told me to keep my faith and keep God in everything that I do. So that stuck to me, and it's been helping me a lot because everything that I've been through, that's the only thing that's keeping me alive for her, and it kept me spirit up, and I never gave up.
Cisse's maturity over the past few years has impressed his former and now current coach, Penny Hardaway.
He's done a phenomenal job with just navigating through everything, and to where he is now, from what he's gone through, his faith has carried him throughout this entire thing, and I'm just glad to be on this journey again.
And right now, that journey is potentially on a collision course with his first NCAA tournament appearance in 5 years of college basketball.
This team, we got something special that we gained, and we trying to protect it all the time.
The Tigers are 13-3 on the season, ranked number 18 in the country, and the guy who's become an adopted son of Memphis has grown since he first donned the blue and gray in 2020.
He doesn't have an identity crisis like he did his freshman year. He really wanted to be a wing when he was really the best defensive big, rebounding and block shots in the country, and now he understands that's who he is.
Musa and Memphis, back together again and better than ever. Some may call it full circle, but it's a circle that hadn't even started forming 8 years ago.
I never thought like one day I was gonna be in this position, and me being here, and then I have all this, everything that I got right now is just a blessing. I always thank God. I'm grateful.
In Memphis.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm Rachel Phillips. Just such a, that was such a cool thing, hey.
You do all of that, and you don't trust this man out in Philadelphia tonight.
Hey, I didn't say I don't trust him.
Listen.
I said I'm scared.
You've just reinforced my trust in the team tonight. We got this guy on the team?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Such an incredible story. Like, his journey is just insane. People always say to me, I can't believe you moved to another country and you're just living here by yourself. Look at what he did. He did it at 14 years old, couldn't speak the language, and is now playing college basketball, has a chance to go to the NCAA tournament and eventually go pro. Like, it's just incredible what he's been able to do, and for him having to lose his mom, and how that shaped him and helped him kind of find this passion for basketball in the sense of he's got to do it for her to try and live up to everything that they sacrificed for him to be in this position. I just think it is so beautiful. One of the funny moments in the interview, and Avery, you were there during it, was I asked him, so when you got to New York, how was your English? And he's
like, there was no English.
He burst out laughing. He said, there was no English. He's like, I actually can't even really say like it was bad because I had absolutely none up my sleeve. To see the fact that he's been able to learn that, and he said it was easy. He was like, I was a kid. It was just like
you're just when you're that age, you're just kind of absorbing everything, right? You don't. I think trying to learn a language now would be much harder for him. But he's been in the States at a time where his brain, you're just taking stuff in. Musa's journey has really been incredible, especially knowing, I haven't been here that long, but I think I got here kind of at that tail end of where he left Lausanne, ended up at Memphis, and then, made the decision to go to Oklahoma State. And everybody that you talk to about Musa, who is from this city or been in the city long enough, is like, yeah, we love Musa. There was never really any hard feelings when he left, and now that he's back, we're just embracing him. So it's been a really cool thing to see. I think the relationship he has with Penny Hardaway has been incredible. They are both men of faith, and so for them to kind of connect over that, been able to talk about stuff like that, I think has been probably really helpful for Musa as he continues. I mean, it's been 3 years since his mother passed, but probably still something they can kind of meet in the middle on a lot and help each other with, as Penny Hardaway's been dealing with his own struggles with his own mother and her battle with cancer that she's had. I think one thing you didn't really include in that story that he talked about a lot, though, was his relationship with his brothers, his brother who came over to the States with him, and just how they've kind of taken care of him and they've taken care of each other since they've been in the States, learning English and everything like that. And the learning English part was really funny because his brother would translate for him a lot, right? And he got to a point where his brother was like, I'm gonna stop translating for you because you're not gonna learn unless you like force yourself to know it. If I translate everything for you, you are just going to kind of use me as a crutch and never really learn. And his English is great now. So he has a clear accent, but it's never, but to my point, it's never like hindered me understanding what he was whatever been trying to say. So really cool thing.
It's great to see him carry the legacy of great defensive players coming out of Lausanne.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, Marc Gasol. Yeah, okay. I was like, is he referencing himself? Campaign in this one.
Referencing himself, 100%.
Yeah, no.
Campaign, Marc Gasol.
You should tell the story about the defensive photo. That's a great story.
Oh,
we don't have time for it today. The University of Memphis Athletics Department and the M Club are set to honor some Tiger legends coming up here in the next month or so. On Saturday, February 22nd, 5 outstanding individuals will be inducted into the Memphis Athletics Hall of Fame during a special ceremony at the Billie J. Murphy Athletic Complex. The new Hall of Famers will also be recognized at Sunday's men's basketball game against Florida Atlantic at FedEx Forum.
This year's Hall of Fame class includes Stasia Mallon, a soccer star on and off the field, Altrice Hawkins, Memphis Volleyball's all-time kills leader, Glenn Hill Sr., a track and field standout with 2 program records, who's currently the track coach at Harding Academy here in Memphis, Reggie Howard, former Memphis Tiger football standout and NFL player, and then Chris Douglas Roberts, a Memphis basketball icon from the Tigers' 2008 National Championship run. Special awards will also be given to Karen Fields, Isaac Mint, Phil Chamberlain, Dave Woloshin, and the others for their long-lasting contributions to Memphis athletics and the community. It's a weekend to celebrate the Tigers' rich legacy. Congratulations to all the honorees.
Yeah, shout out to our guy Dave Voloshin, a big broadcaster here in the Memphis area. Really, really cool dude, and congratulations to all those Memphis Tiger legends.
I apologize to the compound name there. I didn't see the Isaac being compounded there, but congratulations.
It's all good. Let's talk about the best things we saw this week. Best thing I saw this week, the app TikTok is set to be banned in the U.S. this weekend, and in response, thousands of American users have downloaded the app Red Note, which is basically the Chinese version of TikTok, and man, the jokes have just been flying. People saying they're signing their terms and conditions that are in Chinese, they're joining up with the Chinese army. The irony of the U.S. government banning an app in the interest of national security, just for everyone to be like, yeah, China isn't so bad. Let me have this Chinese app on my phone, is hilarious to me.
No, China's bad. Don't download the app.
It's too much for me. I'm saying, can we all just go on Instagram Reels? I like it there.
I'm not going to Red Note, but I think it's hilarious that we were just like, yeah, middle finger to the government. I'm downloading the Chinese app. Big ups to Mao Zedong.
Whoa. We went to my best thing of the week early. Come on, now we're taking you to the pitch for some cricket and one of the best saves you'll see ever. This one going for 6. And Lachlan Shaw, in just his second match in the Big Bash, says, yeah, nah, I'll take that back. Watch it back there on the replay. So the way this works, boys, because I know cricket isn't exactly familiar to you.
I don't know what we're looking at.
This is going for 6. If it gets out of the rope, out of the boundary, that's 6 runs right there.
Okay.
Instead, he saves it. But to do it, he has to make sure his feet don't ever land outside while he has the ball in his hand. So he instantly throws it back in. And also, if he were to touch the boundary rope, that would be 4 runs. So the fact that he's able to catch it, throw it back in, all in one motion before his feet ever touch the ground is insane. It's just a ridiculous play of athleticism. Super young guy, his second ever game in the league, and to do that. Come on now. Does that not get you pumped up?
It does get me pumped
Cricket
up. I mean,
is
it feels like a big catch that I would see like in a Major League Baseball game where they're like diving and jumping over the wall kind of thing. So shout out to Rachel for giving us some culture on this show.
Happy to do it.
Caleb, you're also a man of culture, so I hear.
Yeah, with college basketball. Yeah. The best thing I saw this week is probably the best basketball game you'll see all season. On the night Fordham honors 100 years at Rose Hill Gym, they played out a triple overtime game with UMass. The Rams sent the game to double overtime after UMass fouled on a half-court shot, and Fordham sunk all 3 free throws. UMass eventually claimed a 120-118 win. There were 79 fouls. 10 players fouled out, and UMass guard Rashul Diggins went off for 46 points. I don't know if we'll ever get a game like that again.
Bro, that many foul shots, I would have to just, I feel like I would check out as an official. Like, just swallow the whistle at some point.
Is it a record? Is there a record?
Yeah. It's a record for most free throw attempts since 1995-96. So it's not an all-time record, but since 95-96.
Yeah, that's before I was born.
Three overtimes is insane.
Shout out to Rashul Diggins.
Yeah,
46 points.
I feel like he's got like an all-time college
How many of those
name.
were free throws?
Huh?
How many of those points were from free throws?
I don't know. I wasn't looking at
that. How would have been like 20 at least, I would think.
What are you good for?
I hope it wasn't much.
Absolutely nothing.
I mean, you saw a lot of plays there where he wasn't shooting free throws. He was killing it.
That's going to do it for this Thursday edition of the 24th Floor. Be sure to check out all we do right here on ABC 24 Plus, as well as ABC24.com and our YouTube page. You can also follow the team, myself, Rachel, and Goose, a.k.a. Caleb, on X
it's been a while
for the
since we
latest
called him
updates.
that.
I call him Goose all the time. We'll be back on Thursday to break down all things in the Mid-South sports world, but for now, we out.